Three, two, one. Okay, let's chill on the background noise when we fucking start the episode. Thank you. God damn it. Fucking
That was-
Neanderthals. Use your heads. Holy
that
shit.
was
Oh, let me eat right
straight-
now. Fuck. All right, here we go.
That was straight ice water, bro.
There's nothing in there.
All right, here we go. We're going to start the episode. Welcome back to the Pariah Podcast. We
Welcome
have
back.
taken a hiatus at probably the worst possible time of the season, the end of the season. But we're here. We're going to show our face in front of all the takes we've presented throughout this season. The season is now over. It is episode 31, and it'll be the final one not until next season, but the final one about football, I guess, till then. Listen, this podcast started in September. This was our debut season. We've grown a lot throughout this season, I think, as did a lot of the teams we talked about. But our first episode, and the reason we kind of started this podcast, we wanted to make some predictions that we could come back to see who knows what. And without any further ado, we're just going to review them real quick. It is the day of judgment, the day of beckoning.
No one should ever go back and watch that first episode. We need to delete that first episode.
No need to do that. We are just going to show you what's good.
I liked
right?
it. It convinced me to jump on.
All right,
Dang.
fair enough. Okay, here we go. So, on the left, we had my prediction with Arsenal first, Man City second, Man United third, Liverpool fourth, Newcastle fifth, Aston Villa sixth, Brighton at seventh, and Spurs at eighth. And next up, we had Nabir, who had Arsenal first, Man City second, Man United third, Brighton fourth, Spurs fifth, Chelsea sixth, Liverpool seventh, Aston Villa eighth. Forest. We're going to get to all of this. Slow and steady. Forest had Arsenal winning the league as well. Man City in second. Man United third. Newcastle to round out the Champions League spots. Spurs in fifth. Chelsea in sixth. Liverpool at seventh again. And Brighton at eighth. And Aziz, who's not with us, he's alive. He's just not here. Had Man City as champions. Arsenal second. Man United third. Newcastle fourth. Brighton fifth. Chelsea sixth. Liverpool seventh. And Spurs at eighth. What ended up actually happening for everyone's little, refresh, because it's been a little bit. Man City were indeed the champions of England. Arsenal finished second. Liverpool finished third. Aston Villa in fourth. Spurs at fifth. Chelsea at sixth. Newcastle at seventh. And Manchester United at eighth.
Damn.
Let's see the numbers. I got 2 right. How many of y'all got right?
I got
2 right.
none right.
I feel like next year we should probably differentiate between predicting from your heart versus your mind. Because it's clearly easy just to say, oh, of course City's going to come away with it. But I appreciate everyone and how bold they were with their hearty output.
No, I think we played it. I think we played it too safe because we all stuck with United doing the same thing. We stuck with Brighton being good. We stuck with Newcastle being good. Like, we need more wild card predictions.
And I'll say this, even though I got none right, I think I had the general picture probably the closest. I think Aziz actually had the most spot on. But
me and Nibs had some howlers, bro.
Yeah.
Nah.
So let's go through these, right? With all of us, actually. We had Manchester United finishing third. In reality, they got their worst ever Premier League finish ever at eighth. And we'll talk about later in this podcast about Ten Hag potentially facing the sack as a result. I mean, look, this is
where did we go wrong with United?
This is the outcome of what a trophy in top 4 can sell you as a fan, right? And we all bought it too. And they're in a similar position this year. They've managed to secure FA Cup and a Europa League finish. And I think kind of insanely, some fans will take that as something to be optimistic about. And I'll always maintain, hey, celebrate your trophies. These are things to enjoy in football. But if anyone is telling you that the outlook of Manchester United is now an upwards trajectory, I'm not buying it personally. And I think I've learned from my mistake in not buying it with, a trophy and a strong league finish.
I'd say it's upward, like at least from 8th place. They'll do better next year. I feel like that right now with new ownership and stuff like that. But I don't see a top 4 team in United yet.
I see. Listen, let me clarify. This change in ownership that's occurred, I see optimism in that. With this squad and this coach, I don't see optimism in that. The Ineos are saying all the right things. What I'll need to see is what they do this summer, and especially what they do around the manager. And then we can discuss. But I'm saying just off this season's output alone, I don't see how United fans can really look forward to anything next year.
Well, all that kind of changes if Ten Hag does leave. But irregardless, I feel like all of our predictions with Man United being up there is like that trauma from the past, knowing that Man United, even though when they're bad, they pull out results. They figure it out. And then this season in itself, you can see a little bit with the FA Cup win, like upset against Man City. Like they still have that gene in them. And now how much Ten Hag has taken that out of them, we don't know. But, next season, I feel like if they do go ahead and change up the manager and, bring a little bit back of the DNA, they can be back again. It's kind of dependent.
I'm not betting on them too, but we'll get to that when we get to that, right? Yeah. I think obviously the one we kind of skipped over, and let's just address it now because we don't have it as a separate topic, the champions, right? I think we were all drinking the Kool-Aid a little bit. I tried to base mine in reason a little bit as well. We picked Arsenal to win the league. Aziz had City. Look, in the end, it came down to a 2-point difference, right? And look, they could clown us all they want for having Arsenal first, but if I'm off by 2 points, I'm off by 2 points. I take that on the chin. You know what I mean? It could have gone either way. If someone had told me that City were going to win the last 6 games in a row for the first time since 2018, then, and for me, the most frustrating thing is I've been needing City to drop points at all since December, and for them to go perfectly and then put on that performance against Man United, I mean, it felt.
How are you guys doing, by the way? Everyone's recovering.
I'm doing. Listen, on Sunday, let me tell a quick story for the pod. On Sunday, I went to Nabir's apartment with a backpack and a carry-on packed, and a ticket spotted that in the event City dropped points and Arsenal won, we would buy the first flight to London and go to that parade. That was scheduled. I know. Look, Arsenal got clowned for scheduling a parade. I go back to that tweet where people throw their brains away when talking about Arsenal. This is a major public event. You need to plan these things in advance, right? It was supposed to be on the 20th. We were going to go. Obviously, didn't work out. I took my ass home with a carry-on packed full of Arsenal gear. It was sad. I wasn't doing too hot on Sunday. I wasn't doing too hot on Monday. But it's been a week since life has happened. I've seen people I care about. We're great. I'm optimistic.
I'll say I wasn't in that camp of being hopeful for us to somehow win the league in the end, but I was a bit surprised at how sad and empty I did feel when we did finish the game against Everton. It's more so, there's so much to be proud of about this season, but I look forward to next year, and you really think the pressure is really on now, with teams that go through these great periods. Unfortunately, they only get remembered if they can win something great, not win a little FA Cup or a little League Cup here and there. But with how great Liverpool were, I can even argue that Liverpool team in their prime under Klopp was better than the Arsenal team we have right now.
They were.
They only won the league once. You know what? They won the Champions League once.
Yeah, one Champions League, one FA Cup, one Community Shield, and one Premier League. And Mahmoud, I agree with you. Like, we clown on Liverpool fans all the time that's all you achieve, but it is a lot they achieve, and they'll always maintain, hey, that's a lot we achieved. But I feel comfort in the fact that that's the benchmark. All this team needs to do to equal one of the greatest sides to ever grace English football is to win one Premier League, at least in England, right?
But I hate to play devil's advocate, but so many things went in our favor this year. I
Mhm.
mean, I can't remember an Arsenal season where we were so lucky with always having a practically complete squad, specifically our defense. Saliba played every single game of the entire season. Every single
Look,
game.
you know what? I'm going to challenge you on that. I don't think that's true. I think the last 45 minutes I saw with Timber on the pitch and the first 45 minutes I saw with Timber on the pitch this season showed me why having him healthy over Zinchenko specifically
Mm.
could have changed our fortune this season. We lost the league by 2 points. We dropped a lot
Yeah,
of
but
points
I
to
mean,
sides we
I
shouldn't have
wouldn't
as a
say
result
that
of Zinchenko.
a Zinchenko for a Timber is a like for like switch. I mean, Timber plays on the right, and Zinchenko is primarily just kind of
No,
thrown in the
dude.
left back position.
Timber played left back both games. He is a
Well,
natural
no,
right back.
when he came on, he played right back in this Everton
When he
game.
came on, he played like right wing. But in preseason and what we
He
saw,
played right wing.
in
He's practically
preseason,
playing striker up top. But I mean, from day one, we knew that we weren't going to see Timber all season.
I understand, but you
But
can't say we were healthy. You can't say we were lucky with injuries. If day one,
I think we can say we were lucky with injuries. I mean, just considering
Yes.
how thin our squad was, it could have went to a complete disaster had we lost anybody. I mean, you just look at, okay, Tomiyasu in and out of the squad a couple times. Thomas Partey was practically absent for the entire season. But apart from that, it was the same core rotating in and out, in and out, in and out. Had we lost anyone on top of that, specifically Ben White, Saliba, Gabriel, and somehow we lost Gabriel the last day of the season. I don't know with that shoulder thing. But had we lost anyone in our back line amongst those three, I don't know how the season would have panned out.
I think there's like a point to like obviously that the Arsenal needs to work on their depth a little bit because there's like some integral players that don't have any good solid backups like City does, but I also think like the fact that the league went down to 2 points, like every little detail kind of matters. Like even in the wins on our side, like obviously those last minute winners helped us a lot to get to the 2 point gap. Now. I feel as if like yes, I do think we were lucky. Like Odegaard missing or Saliba missing in these games, I feel like the game could have shifted, but also unlucky in the same way. Like in the same fact, like there's so many things. But regardless, the league never lies.
But Nibs, you're good though, right? Yo, Nibs, you're good, right?
I'm good, bro. I'm good.
All right, just making sure, bro.
I was suffering. I'm not gonna lie. I feel like I really wanted this year because I really felt like Arteta could have made a claim like, hey, he won it against Klopp and Pep. But
But
Klopp
I
is
mean,
done now.
I remember back in November, December, thinking, all right, the season's a wash.
Right.
Move on to next year.
there was an episode on this podcast where we came in and declared we're back in the title race. Like we were out of it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it was even before that November, December period. Leading up to that, we had been getting results, but the team itself was not clicking, was not playing well. I remember thinking we missed Granit Xhaka so much. Correct.
Yeah,
we were like,
Havertz
we missed
in
Granit
midfield,
Xhaka, Havertz in
Nketiah leading the
midfield.
line.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Leading the line, exactly.
And there was a shift in 2024 where we somehow clicked and gelled, and Arteta made the changes and put Havertz up top, and the team. I mean, Declan Rice really found his role in the team. But I think the team has now transitioned. We in the past 2 years, we were kind of this, I guess, underdog mentality in terms of young players, and we're still developing and we're in transition.
Right.
You could, I hate to say use it as an excuse, but it's oftentimes like, all right, we didn't get the result we wanted, but we're still developing, we're still growing as a team. Well, the clock is ticking, and I don't think we can use that excuse next year. If we don't turn up in big games,
exactly.
if we're not leading the league, throughout the entire season, really questions have to be asked.
I don't know if that's a requirement. I don't think I need us to lead the league for 38 weeks. I need us to win the league. If however that happens
Right.
is however that happens. What I'll
Yeah,
say
but I mean,
though,
as you saw though, like if we don't create that dominant force from the beginning of the season, we're up against Man City.
Right.
yes, but I don't think we could pretend City were a dominant force in the first 4 months either. They
Yeah,
weren't.
I mean, but regardless
But
of that,
just
they
weren't
still got over.
horrible. We
Yeah,
were horrible.
they still got over 90 points.
Right.
They did, but again, like I'm not gonna make a huge deal over a 2 point difference. It is a 2 point difference, and it's a crucial difference in the end. But I'm not gonna sit here and say Manchester City were leagues better than us this season. They
No, I
weren't.
agree with that, but it's also the margin for error is so
Right.
small in this league in this period of time right now that we have to make a statement. And if we're gonna go again,
No,
we
I'm
really
with you.
have to
I'm with
see.
you. I think 2 seasons in a row we're guilty of only playing good for half of a season, right?
Mhm.
Like last year, it was the first half. I think in 19 games we lost one. This year in 2024, we lost one game. You cannot win a league that way. I hate this
Against
narrative
goddamn
online
Unai Emery, you know.
that hey, in 2024 we did this, in 2024 we did this. Guess what? The season is 23-24. You don't get it for playing half of a season, right? So I don't have any regrets or
Yeah.
I guess like I don't know, like what ifs with that. I know we were horrible at the beginning of the season, and it's on Arteta now. Hey, I can't have for the first 3 games where you don't play Gabriel. I can't have these experiments. I know you're going to
Yeah.
buy players, bring players in next season. I need you to show me as a coach that you can figure out how to get the ball rolling quick because we don't have 4 months at the beginning of the season to experiment, right?
And
Like,
even with the Euros going on this summer, we don't have much
it's going to
time
be less
to
time. Yeah.
integrate. Yeah. So
But
really
I'll leave
much more
Arsenal
of a
at that.
challenge.
I think look, we're all disappointed.
That was a
we're all
needed
up-
segue.
I agree.
Yeah.
I agree. We
that off
will
your
be
chest.
back. The next one, I'm going to give myself flowers. I'm the only person that had Liverpool top 4. And everybody else had Liverpool 7th. It wasn't close.
God damn.
So, look, I'll
Don't
say
care.
this.
Literally do not care. I'll relegate them next year, bro. Do not care.
bro, that prediction. If you look at like the expected point, whatever, I think we were right. I think we were right. I'm gonna stand on this. The fact that Liverpool gained this many points on this season is actually absurd. The way they were
fire.
playing was actually like less than top 4 level. Like it was not anywhere near. The way they were getting
agree.
results, it was just
Bro, in the
absurd,
first
man. Like,
2 months, they thought Szoboszlai was gonna be like the greatest player of all time. I just want to say that's how they started off that
Let me
season.
Exactly.
stop y'all. Let me stop y'all. Liverpool were not good. I'm here with that. But you're telling me any of these other teams were better? This
You're
was
right.
one of the worst
Oh, yeah.
league performances as a
Still
whole
don't care.
You're right.
ever.
Fuck.
I mean,
Right,
you could argue
take it, bro.
Villa. You could argue Villa had, a pretty well-rounded season. I mean, just
Villa had a
but
well-rounded season and still had less points than this Liverpool team we think is
Bro, I
shitty.
don't even have Villa on mine, bro. What the hell?
Did anybody? Did you have Villa on yours?
I have Villa 6th. You guys
Oh,
had
wow.
you had him 8th. Forest didn't have him. And
Oh my god. Okay, but if you
neither did
just
Aziz.
do
So
Villa
that's
as
another
Newcastle
one.
in my head, there you go. Villa as Newcastle, just switch it, and I got it.
Yeah,
I just didn't
That's another
anticipate
one.
there'd be a new Newcastle.
yeah. Newcastle.
The one, yeah, I think all of us kind of upped. Wait, Nibs, I'll give you credit. You didn't have Newcastle in your top 8. I mean, they were in the
Yeah,
top 8.
that
so
that
I'm
was
gonna
a
give you the
contentious one when we did it. Do you remember that? Everyone was like, "No
Yeah.
shot."
credit. Yeah.
But I mean,
that.
talking about Liverpool just briefly, I still do think the whole scenario with Jurgen Klopp and the time during the season where he announced was leaving was just, I mean, it was just odd. Just kind of like in the middle of the season, they really weren't too much in the mix yet. Maybe it was trying to help motivate the players, but then again, it's also like, all right, my manager is leaving. Any of the young players are like, well, do I really have that motivation to play? And then we were all on this kind of hype of like, oh, it's the you never walk alone energy. Like, let's see how far I can take it. Let's fight for the manager. And we saw how that fizzled out.
Yeah. But I think it's one of those. If it worked, we would have been all saying, "Oh my God, he's a genius." I think ultimately his finishers let him down. You cannot win a
Yeah.
Premier League if you cannot score goals. And if anything, him making that announcement, you could argue, put pressure on those forwards. Or maybe if they had a different mentality, it could have spurred them on to be better. I think he rolled the dice and it didn't work out. I think that's what it
Who
boils
knows?
down.
Maybe if he hadn't, it would have been worked out. It worked out even less. Like
maybe it worked out to get them top 4.
Yeah,
you
yeah.
could say
I
that,
think so.
you know.
And Klopp actually had that angle. Like I watched his last couple of press conference. He was like, "I'm just proud I gave the next coach Champions League football to play and a Champions League budget to play with." And I think that's respectable, but we all know, Klopp, what you wanted at the end of the season, and it didn't really happen. There were guys in our TikTok comments confidently claiming the quadruple in I want to say February. So listen,
Yo, do you see Slot chanting, or you see Klopp chanting Slot's name at the finale?
Yeah.
I don't know why that was kind of funny to me. Like your old guy is like welcoming the new guy type. Like, imagine at Chelsea, bro. We'd be doing that like every season.
I was kind of pissed by this whole like humility gimmick Klopp was running in the last month.
That's the last 7 years.
I understand.
I want to discuss some comments from Jamie Carragher comparing Klopp to Wenger and saying that Klopp has a better Premier League legacy than Arsene Wenger.
Listen, man, I'm an engineering student. I like numbers. One got 3 of them things. One got 1 of them things. It's very simple to me. If you want to talk about style, I think one changed the style here in England. One led all of his players to tear their hamstrings. So it is what it is. And everybody got asthma all of a sudden. So I don't know what the argument is.
Yeah, Jimmy Carragher, man, that guy is just.
Yo, you know what's even crazier, Farish? The fact that he qualified it by saying Premier League legacy. If you just said, "Oh, coach for coach," you could have made an argument with Klopp's, Bundesliga spell. You could have made an argument with the Champions League, the finals he made. But if you're gonna go Premier League for Premier League, come correct when you come for Arsene, bro. I'm telling you, he picked the wrong fight there.
It's because Klopp's faithful towards Malik. That's why.
Malik.
Okay. Moving down the list, the next howler I had personally, I had Brighton in my 7th spot. They ended up finishing 11th.
Dude. That's the biggest I had.
I had Spurs 8th. Aziz had Spurs 8th. We were both painfully wrong. I'm going to give you and Nibs flowers, Forrest, for having them spot on at 5th. But I'll say this. Did either of you expect them to finish 5th the way they finished 5th?
No shot.
No, exactly what I expected. They were going to do well in the beginning and shit the bed in the end.
I don't remember my reasoning at all for any of my picks, honestly. I'd have to go back and listen, but I think Spurs was probably the same. I just felt like comfortable with a new manager, they'd probably get 5th. I feel like they had a good squad going into the season too.
Yeah.
But I did not anticipate any type of first 10 games they're going to win the title, and then last 10 games they're going to get relegated. I did not anticipate that. I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know why we don't expect it. We need to start anticipating this. Enough is enough. They've shown us what they are. The next one, and I guess the final big topic out of these predictions, I did not have Chelsea in my top 8. And if we shot this video a month ago, y'all would have been giving me bouquets of flowers.
Guess we'll never know.
We will never know. But hold on, it ain't. The story ain't done, because Mauricio Pochettino turned the ship around to finish 6th. Yeah, get that smile off your face, Bart. That's right. He turned the ship around to finish in 6th place, winning all of his last 5 games. If you look at this form table, Man City, Arsenal, and Chelsea are the only clubs to win all of their last 5 games. He got you a 6th place finish. Before Man United won the FA Cup, he had you in Europa League. And Now he's jobless. So, Faris, take it away, brother.
Take it away.
Give
Are
me
we
your
doing
thoughts.
this?
We're doing this.
We're doing just the whole Chelsea thing right now.
Segue.
Yeah, Chelsea right
That's
now.
our
Alright.
segue.
Rent boy talks.
Right, boy talks. As I've been, keeping you guys updated in the group chat for some time now, I have not
This guy
the
is
biggest
suicidal, by the way.
fan. I'm doing all right. I'm talking to some people. I'm not the biggest fan of this decision. I did not think that, even if the club is saying it was mutual, and like Poch, obviously last 2 months, his press conferences, he was pretty upset with his current standing in terms of like transfers and stuff like that. Even if it's mutual, I just don't think this is at all the correct decision. I genuinely think we were building up to have a great second year underneath him. I thought, we were getting guys back from injury, where the young players did really well under him, and he has like a proven track record of improving players, improving young players. So when that notification came that he had essentially half been sacked, half resigned, I did not know what to do. I didn't expect it. I genuinely did not expect it. I saw when the season ended, they were going to have a talk. And I was like, okay, they're going to have a talk. They're probably just going to extend him 1 year, give him another year. At that moment, we were in Europa League. That was kind of the goal they had set. For all of that to just be like, let's just hit reset, I was shocked, genuinely shocked.
I think Poch walked into that boardroom after winning 5 games on the bounce, talking like a big stepper, dude. I think he started asking for a whole lot more than Clear Lake was prepared to give.
Dude, all he wanted genuinely was some type of input. Okay. And look, I'm gonna counter my own point right here. Poch, I keep messing those guys up. Poch's talent ID is not good. Like the players that he was saying for us to sign, like Manuel Ugarte and I don't know who else, but like Frank Kessier, he wanted kind of brutes in the midfield. Not good. But the fact that the club is
Brutes.
you're not even allowed to
Roots with Kessier, huh?
Yeah.
I know what you are.
but the fact that the club was not going to give him any type of say in the transfers was, I bet he honestly was like, if you guys aren't going to do this, I'm just going to step away. And the club was like, that's fine.
Do you think he was bluffing and they called his bluff?
Nah, dude. If
That'd
you listen
be
to
bad
him,
funny.
if you listen to him the last 2 months in the press conferences, he was fighting for his life. He was like, guys, look at the job I'm doing. Look at the situation I was put in. It's not easy to coach young players. Yeah, he was essentially getting himself fired in real time. Constantly.
I think Eddie Nketiah is the top of his transfer list. That's why.
It could be that. I mean, those are his kind of players he wants, hard workers. But
Brutes.
Brutes. But no, I'm very disappointed. It might not tell right now, but I was very sad.
Let me give my 2 cents. I think this entire Clear Lake transition, this entire podcast, at least with decisions the boardroom was making, we gave a lot of grace. I think up till now, all of your failures on the pitch, we had essentially blamed Poch, right? We had essentially blamed
I don't know
players
about that.
We had blamed squad construction to the extent of, hey, these guys are young. But there were numerous occasions this season where you guys lost a game and we were like, hey, you had the pieces on the pitch to win the game, right? And something broke down, right?
Yeah, no, there's definitely some profiling issues with Pochettino that I definitely brought up in numerous pod episodes. But I think I always tried to counter that with this is the situation he's in that he's trying to figure out. I never, I think, assigned full blame to anyone. But now the meter has tipped completely to blaming the board.
And I agree with you. And the reason is when Potter got fired and Poch got installed, it was a situation of hey, they want their guy, right? They don't want to deal with a mix of old recruitment meets oldish manager. Let's start fresh.
Yeah.
You cannot spend what you spent, get a new coach in, give him the time you gave him. There were so many obvious chances this season to fire him, to then go from that to him turning everything around and you taking the decision today, not today, but after all is said and done to fire him. I would be 100% not confident in Clear Lake.
Oh, I'm nowhere near confident in Clear Lake. And the fact that we have multiple people running the club that don't agree with each other is a death sentence, dude. like some guys want Decherby, some guys want this Maresca guy, some guys were pining for Kieran McKenna, who has no PL experience. Just like a mix of, like, no one even probably had their, when Poch was hired, I bet people wanted other people. Like there's no
Right.
cohesion at the top of the club. And now that's why we're linked with random managers that are obviously, in my opinion, all of them are a step down from Pochettino, a step into this like post Pep Guardiola world of coaching where everyone is just trying to find his version. And we have tried multiple times to do that. We thought Potter was some type of, visionary. We probably didn't give him the right enough time either, but still, these guys are literally trying to find some type of Pep and then failing them in the process and then blaming them as well. It's insane.
But first, what do you like? Let's give your owners a benefit of the doubt. What do you think made them fire this guy at this point in the time with the results? Like, what could it have been? Because I feel like this was the turning point. Like, he got over the hump in his last couple games, and this was his like next season. He's gonna curate the team a little more, take it on his stride, and make like honestly, like next season, I was worried about Chelsea. Like, I was thinking about next season after we lost the league, and then Chelsea was one of the top teams that we were worried about. Like, but now I'm literally not worried anymore because he
no,
just fired
I
this guy.
agree with you. I agree because, like,
I mean, you were
again,
worried after we beat them 5-0 a couple weeks ago. But
No, like just teams that like
that
would
game.
have
That
some
game
sort of-
for sure came up in that exit interview. They probably made him watch
No,
the full 90
If
minutes.
if there was a chance to fire him, it was after that game. That game
Yeah.
was the perfect storm to fire that guy, but you didn't. And I don't know.
No,
Like,
the perfect game to
the-
fire him was that 2-1 loss at Old Trafford, where we literally we made Man United
Yeah.
look like the greatest team ever.
Yeah.
That was a good shot, but now to fire him now, if
Yeah.
you're trying to take out the ownership and like I'm trying to answer your question, like objectively, I'm guessing they looked at the season start to finish. They did not just say, okay, well, this is kind of the run in, this is kind of the last couple games. Should we really decide everything on that? If you look at it as a whole, then Pochettino has done a lot of good, but he's also struggled with a lot of things that, in my opinion, the biggest problem he's really had is making Enzo work.
Mhm.
He is, and we can get into claims or comms about Enzo, but like the fact that he had Enzo playing like as a 10 in some games, he had him like off on the wing sometimes. He did not care to really do more tactical, nuanced things that maybe the club wanted. He was just going to play his style. He played his guys. He preferred Gallagher and Chalobah, who the club had been trying to sell for a season. So I think they looked at it as a whole and they said, we do not like the style and the coaching and the tactics and all the other buzzwords that these guys, they're really coaching like they're reading The Athletic, and they're like, yeah, I should probably just, we need more XG or whatever. And then they fired him because of that. I'm not even joking, dude.
What do you make of the player reactions?
It's bad. I've never seen every player come out with a message.
Right.
And like not even just a message of thank you. Like Nicholas Jackson's posting like the hand in the face, like palm in the face emoji.
Shaking my head.
Like everyone's like saying they were surprised. It came out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's a reasonable answer if you look at the whole season, but like, bro, you have to put it into context. Like,
I know,
he is
I know.
working with these team, and he's gonna make like that was the message from get go. Like, we're gonna stride with this manager, whatever, he's gonna make it up by the end of the season. There were signs, but it just doesn't
Dude,
make sense.
Yeah,
I think
the
these
entire
guys.
season-
Yeah, go ahead.
The entire season, I feel like they were betting him to turn it around, and then the moment he did, they dipped. I don't know. It was wild.
but I mean let's take a step back.
Mhm.
The history of Chelsea in
Yeah.
terms of the club and the pattern when it comes to managers. Like, are we at all surprised by this? Literally, the most absurd things happen in just terms of managers getting sacked at any point in time at that club.
I thought they had
um,
turned a corner with
Yeah.
Clear Lake, to be honest. And
especially-
it's clear they haven't.
Especially because they
Yeah.
were trying to follow everything that Arsenal does, and the one thing they didn't follow is stick with their manager. When they have a little difficult.
No, I thought they had. This is okay, Mahmoud. My argument is this, right? Let's say you have a manager performing poorly in, I don't know, 3/4 of the season, right? You're at a point now where this manager is performing extremely poorly. Why would you give them till the end of the season? The thought is, hey, let's give him a fair shot for the rest of the season, right? Or let's give him a holistic observation for the rest of the season, because
Mhm.
we don't want to make a rash decision based on an
Right.
incomplete story. If the story then completes perfectly, how can you have the same decision? What was the point of waiting?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's where I'm confused.
Yeah. No, it's
All
a
right.
good point, but it's. I think the management at Chelsea over the years has shown us that oftentimes rash decisions are
Yeah.
made, and there really
Yeah.
They
isn't a lot
usually
of
work out.
basis behind these
Yeah.
decisions. Who was the manager before Tuchel?
It was
It
Frank
was
Lampard.
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 Was it Frank Lampard? I remember around that time, I was upset because there was a period of time where Arteta was under pressure, and then Lampard was under pressure, and
Mm.
then Lampard got the sack,
Mm.
hired Tuchel. Chelsea went on to win the Champions League, and then Arsenal went on to just eat shit for the rest of the season. I remember at that point in time, I was like,
Yeah.
God damn, I wish we
Yeah.
had the cojones of
Cojones,
Chelsea
right.
to be ruthless like that. And
That's
I
true.
mean, to be quite honest with you, you guys have now won 2 Champions Leagues, something
Yeah.
our club has never done.
And then yeah. I'm gonna be honest,
And
Mar, it ain't so bad.
it is not. It ain't so bad. You know, this whole like 2-year Arsenal project or Arteta's
Yeah.
whatever
What we got?
plan may never amount to anything, and we'll be looking at this 5
Okay,
years
don't-
down the road, being like, "Oh, we were poking fun at this Chelsea guy," but at the end of the day, homie had 2 Champions Leagues, and we were just singing Kai Havertz's name, leading us to no trophy. So
Yeah, this season is like Chris Paul hits a huge 3 to cut the lead to 42. Like you guys are up way.
Look, that's outside of the conversation about my thoughts on Chelsea as a
Okay,
whole.
but wait, I wanna direct this conversation to where the replacement's gonna be. I want you to first argue against a candidate and then give an argument for your candidate. The candidate I want you to argue against is Roberto De Zerbi, and then I want you to give me your alternate for who you want to take over the reins.
Okay. So I think I should just open it with who the reported favorites were for this. There's a short list. It was Kieran McKenna of Ipswich in the championship, Enzo Maresca of Leicester in the championship, Thomas Frank of Brentford, and who was the fourth one? Do you guys remember? Maresca, Frank, and I think it was just those three then. De
Let's just
Zerbi
call
was
it
not.
De Zerbi.
Yeah, De Zerbi was not ever formally announced by like Ornstein or Fabrizio or anyone. It was kind of just club insiders. Now, that being said, my personal thoughts against De Zerbi are not necessarily oriented towards him directly. It's just maybe the style of manager he is, who I think also Enzo Maresca, the one that we're probably going to end up doing, is very much so like a De Zerbi. I do not think after watching this season that a manager that is going to try and coach every single pass to the exact detail of like triangles and passing networks is the right move for this team. I don't know how you can look at, a team that scored 70 something goals in the Premier League, which is, on average pretty high. Like last season we scored 38. I just want to put that out there. 70 something goals we scored and the manner that we scored, and then being like, okay, now we're going to tell Cole Palmer to lay it off next time instead of shoot, to make an extra pass, to go wide, to be a touchline winger. A lot of this stuff also stems from like my general like distaste against, again, like these buzzwords of like just most of the modern tactics that we read online. A lot of it seems like an over analysis of like simple things, but I don't think that De Zerbi or really anyone is going to make us, this next Arsenal or this next City. I don't think we have the manpower or the personnel for a lot of this stuff. I think Poch, again, really enhanced so many of our players. He got huge goals out of Palmer. He made Nicholas Jackson have 15 goals by the end of the season. And I don't think Maresca or De Zerbi is going to really push us to what the club owners think we're going to get. I don't think either of them are a Pep or Arteta. No shot.
Look, you're mentioning 77 goals. Look, the fact of the matter is, let's look it up, right? You scored 77 goals, but you conceded 63, right?
Yeah.
You don't think a little bit of structure could bring down that number?
That is true. And that, again, like I said, I wasn't 100% on the Poch is the right guy. I'm just comparing him to De Cherby. Yeah, 60 goals is actually like our record most goals conceded in the Prem season.
Hmm.
But with circumstance,
I'm still kind of astounded that you said the next Arsenal. That's kind of crazy to me.
you know what I mean, dude. You read any of these articles, these guys want to be the Arsenal project. They want their Arteta. That's just the truth. Even if it hasn't accomplished,
Yeah.
a
Can I
trophy
add
yet,
a comment?
people want. Yeah, go ahead.
I think it's insane that. Look, let's just also add this other piece into it, right? There's uncertainty around the guy who is going to get the Man United job next season, whether it's going to still be Ten Hag or a new guy. But they have basically the same list of names. And it's crazy to me that football is at a spot where guys are now looking for like a diamond talent for coach. You're now scouting managers from the championship. Before, if there was a vacancy at a Big Six club, first place you looked at was the other Big Four leagues, right? You looked at Spain, you looked at Italy, you looked at Germany, you looked at within the league. Now,
just get the best guy available.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's the fact that these like release clauses for these managers have gone way, way up. It's the fact that I feel like football as an ideology is changing. To your credit, like these
definitely.
hipster tacticos are like now all in demand, and the fact that the guy.
I don't want to even take away from Arteta and Arsenal, but I still am of the belief of that player quality will trump everything. You have good players on your team. A competent coach can get that team to succeed. Now I know Arteta have done a lot to enhance their guys, to like really build systems to and those guys again, they're not like a common. You can't just find an Arteta or a Pep around here, But I think if you have a collection of good players, you should just bring in someone that can put give them a good structure on the field and let them do their thing. And I think at least in the final third, Pochettino is the best at that. At being like, I'm going to put these creative players and they're going to find their way in the final third. They're going to score. And now De Cherby is going to try and or whoever we hire, Maresca, is going to try and plan out every action until we get to the and then who's going to score, who's going to pass. I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that.
Listen, here's what I'll say. I think you respect both Arteta and Pep as a coach, right? What are both of these guys known for doing? They take away the individual brilliance of certain players to benefit the whole. And to your point of young players, right? Our squad last year was the youngest squad in the Premier League. Arteta made them serviceable. I'm not saying they're bad players, right? But Arsenal has signed young players for as long as I've been alive. And I've never seen them do the things this team has done. And I think a lot of that has to do with the fact that they do have such specialized instructions. And these players come out in interviews and talk about it all the time. When they talk about Arteta's brilliance, it's like he can anticipate situations. He tells me where I should try to look for a ball before I even know this situation is going to happen, right? And I think there's value in that. Like we make fun of Pep for turning Bernardo Silva, Haaland, Doku, Grealish into these robotic footballers, and it's true. And I think it's totally fair to disagree with that as a concept, but to deny that it might help your team full of kids, I think is crazy. And I think it's even crazier to suggest you should do let the ballers ball with this group of players when they're kids. They're not the guys at Madrid. They're not the guys at City. They're talented players, but you don't have a Grealish pre-Pep. You don't have a Grealish you don't have a Bernardo pre-Pep, right? You have a good level of players, but I don't think they're ready to figure it out themselves.
That's true.
Speaking about Pep, I think it would be a good segue because we've kind of discussed almost every team on this list apart from Man City. And I don't want to spend too much time talking about City, but I was thinking to myself the other day, just looking at the run, or honestly the entire season that we went through. And had we won the season, I could probably point out several key moments throughout the season that were super memorable, being Yeah, I really remember how we went through that game, and that was such a landmark for the season and things going like that.
Mm.
Genuinely, I look at that City season, and I cannot think about a single moment in time during their season when I was like, wow, that was such a great moment for them, or wow, that was such a progressive point to their season, and they had all these great moments. It was kind of just, I
Yeah,
mean,
it's just
I'm not
because
trying
the
to take
AI
anything
drop.
away, not trying to take anything away from the team itself,
There's
but
nobody to take anything away from. We have Tariq,
yeah,
and that's it, right? Like, there's no one we're stealing joy from. It's okay to hate. Uh, that is an AI generated football club. I find it hilarious that
Oh man,
all this talk of Pep leaving is coming right when these charges are finally going to be acted upon. It's mighty convenient, and I hope all I can say is I hope justice is served, and then after that, history will look at the city team,
yeah.
however it wants to look at the city team, right?
And
What? You go
you know
ahead.
the craziest thing is when I noticed that the Liverpool fans were rooting for City. That's when I knew that team does not have any rivals. That team is like a
yeah.
placeholder for every other team to support whenever they're not winning the game. And and if that's the case for that team, bro, let them have it. And the parade
It's like
was such a
it's like
shameful.
you ever play Mario Kart at someone's crib and like
Yeah,
you're
the
not
computer.
first, the friend you're not playing is first, but there's a computer first. It doesn't feel good, but you take it over your friend beating you, right? And I think that's exactly what City serves as this club. Look,
Dude,
the
I
things they've
saw
achieved.
I saw a tweet where it was a Luton fan celebrating that Arsenal lost the league.
Yeah,
I
first
Yeah,
was
of
like,
all,
what? I was like, what? This is post relegation. He was celebrating. Oh, like,
Oh
dude,
my
dog.
I
goodness.
saw Palace fans, I saw Brentford fans, I saw Luton fans.
West Ham.
I don't think it's a case of. I don't want to think it's a case of everyone hates us. I think it's
Yeah.
everyone just would rather City have it. I've been
Yeah.
in that boat before we were relevant. I think
Right.
it's
but I
hilarious
think
how
I think that also that mindset also isn't necessarily just for the fans. Also think it affects the players. Like when Luton play Arsenal versus when
Right,
Luton
right,
plays City,
right.
Arsenal has that reputation
I
and that
agree.
history. When those
That's
players are
true.
growing up watching the game, they are, and I guess I can't
Turning
say
up.
this objectively, but I would like to think that they are more inclined to turn up and play and try to beat Arsenal, whereas City's like, oh, here's that metallic team from Manchester that has the alien as their fucking mascot, and they diddly diddly doo doo da da,
yeah, nah.
Oh man.
It is what it is, man.
It is what it is.
Other than that, what I had to talk about, we could just quickly talk about it. Man United won the FA Cup. We already kind of did talk about it. Pretty
Actually, no,
crazy
dude.
game.
Screw those guys, bro. We're playing in Conference League now because of them.
Yeah, no, they snatched your chain. They like took it right off your neck, dude.
When I saw
It,
Mason Mount lift the trophy, bro, my fists were like this, bro,
Yeah.
to my TV. I was
yo, Mason Mount
pissed.
won. Mason
Dude, but
Mount
fair play to Man U. They showed up. They actually played a really good game,
Yeah.
and
did.
City looked like they were still drunk out there. So
Yeah.
And Ten Hag dropped probably the hardest quote he's dropped all season. When he's not talking about Garnacho's offside against Arsenal, he's making a lot of sense. Let me find the actual quote. But basically, the gist of it was, look, if they fire me, they fire me. I'm gonna keep winning trophies as I've done here. I will continue to do it. I've done it in my career. It's what I do. And I think,
Yo.
dude,
Ten, Hag-
he
Ten, Ten Hag is the most clowned off manager by the pundits, bro. That
he
interview with
is.
Alan Shearer
It
and
was so
Yeah.
awkward. I was
it
like,
was.
yeah.
I
I
feel
felt
bad for the
bad for the
guy,
poor
man.
guy. Yeah,
The
I
man
was
is
like,
trying, bro.
they're like, hopefully we'll see you here next season, but surely you will be getting the sack, won't you? And he's just like, excuse me.
No, and honestly, I've never once been a person to like defend Ten Hag or back him, but credit to him, man. Like
Yeah,
in the face of all this, to go
yeah,
out and beat Manchester City, I don't care how drunk they were, how whatever they were, he beat them,
he
right?
beat
Yeah,
him.
And he won a trophy. And if they do still end up firing him, he made them look stupid. And I
Yeah,
think I gotta respect any guy who could do that. To be honest with you,
yeah.
it'll be interesting to see what happens. I still think they fire him. I think Ineos.
I
Yeah,
think
I think
it's
they
it's
fire
swayed a bit, but they probably will. If
Yeah.
like McKenna or someone, if they have like a project guy lined up, they probably will.
What about Rashford, guys? Where's he going? Transfer rumors.
Bro, that guy's going to
I take-
Miami, bro. That guy's going to chill with Gunna. You guys will see him
Going
in
to
your
hang out
ends,
with
bro.
Jaylen Brown, dude, in Boston.
This guy, bro.
No, going back a little bit, the reason I kind of put De Zerbi in those Chelsea talks, this guy quit.
Oh
And he
yeah.
quit before everything was said and done. You don't quit a job unless you have a job lined up.
Mm.
And conveniently, a week after he quit, we find out both Chelsea and United are looking for managers. I think there was some sort of agreement backdoor with either one of these clubs that, hey, pal, we're going to have a vacancy real soon. Get ready. So
Dude,
that's why, like,
United would not work with him. They don't have a single guy that can play the kind of football he wants.
Yeah,
he
but
might
they can
buy
also
Boston.
buy whoever they want. You see, like they'll
I mean,
just
that's-
literally uproot the whole squad and start from scratch.
That's true.
They literally do that every season.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
I hope they don't get rid of Anthony though. I really want to see his face on the sidelines next year coming on with his intensity. Like,
He should be player manager, Anthony.
yeah. Seriously.
Look, let's table this discussion. Look, there's a whole another side of this table we haven't talked about. We did do our relegation predictions. We'll talk about those sometime later this week. Hopefully, we hope you enjoyed our recap episode. We're glad we did it. You know what I mean? I had a lot of fun. Thank you for listening this season. If you did listen, understand that this was a trial run, and we're gonna be back a lot stronger with a lot better production value, content, everything next season.
Predictions.
But don't worry,
We'll do
we're
Euros.
not going anywhere over summer. There's tons of transfer talks. I mean, that's sometimes more entertaining than the damn football.
Yes, dude. Finally, we're gonna win a season, dude. The off season, bro. My favorite time of the year.
Dominate the transfer rumor session. We do have the Euros. We have the Copa America.
Yo,
there's a lot
Champions
going on.
League final predictions.
Oh, let's get those in. Look,
Bro, I'm
So
not watching
far,
that shit.
it's been
Me neither.
underdogs. Atalanta beat Leverkusen. Someone else that wasn't supposed to won the Conference League, I think. And it just leaves Dortmund to
Bro,
do
they
the
threw
upset.
the Europa League final up on a Wednesday afternoon.
That was
Yeah.
insane. That was
That was crazy.
crazy work.
Are we
Bro,
are we not going to recognize the fact that I predicted the final for the Champions League?
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
snap! Let's get it, my
Now
boy.
predict
I
the
said
winner. Your
Real
word is
versus,
bond.
Yeah,
I
come
said
on,
Real
predict-
versus Dortmund. I'm gonna go
Your winner.
Dortmund win. I said Dortmund wins it all.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I believe.
I believe
Faris,
too.
come
I
on, back
believe.
it.
The
Faris,
power
back
of friendship ends eventually, you know.
Real Madrid
Yo, we might do-
5-0.
it. God damn.
Oh, Lord.
Listen, we might do a live stream for that game. So watch if you watch this far. We'll see you next time. Hopefully you enjoyed. Take care. Bye bye.
Peace.
Like a somebody.